Look what he says, right?
Yep.
It says, Ach inyan bezehu is actually part of a discussion that begins by asking the question whether mitzvahs are going to be relevant in Yemos Mashiach onward.
Interesting question.
He discusses it, right? He discusses it, and then he goes on to say, Ach inyan bezehu ki hine taluchas and haga asher b'Yemos Mashiach hine yeh mitchila hateva v'nisim urav biyachad v'al derech shia begulas Mitzrayim. He said, regarding Yemos Mashiach, right, what's it going to be like? You know, some say, like the Rambam, the Gemara itself says, Ein bein olam hazeh, the Yemos Mashiach, el shibud malchus biavad. Rambam quotes this. There's no difference between Yemos Mashiach and history right now, except for the fact there'll be no oppression of nations and peoples and like that. The Gemara in Sukkah says that the Yitzhar is going to be canceled out. No Yitzhar anymore, basically. And that changes everything. That's, you know, the question is how much nature, how much miracle, how much nature, you know, nature is likely totally miraculous, or will the world continue on like it is right now? So the Rambam brings down what the Gemara says and says that you know, the world will still be very natural. It's just that the evil will be gone from the world, which is quite that's a very super, you know, given the world today, it's a very supernatural thing. Anyway, so he says that's what it was like in Mitzrayim. In Mitzrayim, it was very much like that. Mitzrayim, it was a combination of miracle and nature. Now, everybody, you had the 10 plays going on, which were certainly Lamal and Teva, certainly fantastically miraculous, but at the same time, and in the beginning, for example, until Rosh Hashanah, the Jews were still working. They were still enslaved. And for 6 months, where the first 6 Makkahs, first 5 Makkahs were taking place, they were still showing for work and slavery. They had to prepare meals, they had to change diapers, wash the diapers too, right? No disposable stuff at that time. And it was ongoing until later on, right? So you had this combination of fantastic miracles. You turned on the 11 o'clock news and you saw, Egypt was destroyed by another plague that clearly was supernatural. At the same time, you had to take care of your everyday responsibilities and duties. So it was a combination of both miracle and Teva at the same time, back in Mitzrayim. Shagam Reish said Chalas Agula, you take up a Nisim. Hine Hayad Dain Kol Matzav Yisrael Atzman B'Teva V'Chomrei Ki Adain LePaska Zumasan Ad Matan Torah. So I'm still talking about from Mitzrayim that we until we got to Mount Sinai and received the Torah, and we just got the man at this point in time. But until that time, and we didn't get rid of that spiritual filth that we picked up from the snake back in the Garden of Eden, that we still had to be very physical and function in the physical world. We had to take, you know, work with the world, right? Even though fantastic miracles are happening, you're talking to God. He doesn't get much better than that. Splitting the sea is an enormous miracle, nonetheless, and also the months falling, which is a fantastic miracle. But we had to do things and be part of the world. That's what he says. Okay, lines or work with them with fantastic miracles. In Kozeh, Heim Atzman Hayu Adain Lefi Teva. They themselves were still according to Teva Legamrei, right? V'cheni b'hayamim arishonim the Yemos Mashiach. It's going to be the same way. Similarly, in Yemos Mashiach, shegam she'agula v'nhaga b'nisim gedolim, right? Even though then Haga, at that time, we'll see fantastic miracles take place for the Jewish people. We already are, right now. Right? In Kozeh Yehateva Mishameshes Gam Kim Iskayim Adayin Achumri V'Gashmi B'Olam Kulo. Still, the physical world is going to be the physical world. It's not going to become all of a sudden, you know, transparent and spiritual all of a sudden. The world is going to, you have to walk places and do things. Right, but that nonetheless, big miracles will take place at the same time. Yeah.
What fantastic miracles are we seeing now?
This country alone is this country that we're living in. The fact that we're a small, tiny country fighting against huge armies at the same time, advancing technologically, taking care of itself. That's the whole that's the whole point. And the Gemara makes this point as well. Is that one of the things that undermines the miracles is the fact that so much teva still exists. There's still poverty. There's still sickness. There's still, you know, family problems, and all these things going at the same time. So it kind of like dampens the miracles and makes them look, well, you know, how can you say it's miraculous when so much bad's going on? A war of Gog and Magog might happen, right? On the other hand, we are advancing, spiritually as well in many respects, and we've accomplished so much in 70 short years that they write books about us and talk about how we do this stuff, and it's a phenomenon. That's the secular's word for miracle, basically. As a whole, there's a big, huge phenomenon. So, just the fact that we came back after 2,000 years, and we got this thing, we built it up, and we have all these Bate Kinesias and Bate Midrashus, and we can make Parnassus today, and all these things that we're doing. It's all miraculous. It just seems tevadik because we kind of look at it like all or nothing. Either it's all miraculous or all teva. So if it's murav, as it's talking about, then people say, they don't notice the miracles. And that's our problem, not HaKadosh Baruch Hu's problem. You have to open your eyes and see. He says, "V'chein gam b'Yisrael etzman," and likewise the Jewish people, "V'chol bittul zuhama," and the cancellation of the zuhama, which is a spiritual, the klipas, what we got back in the Garden of Eden from the snake, because of our involvement with him. You have to be careful who you're friends with, right? Obvious, and the refinement of the physicality that we picked up as a result of the chet, because once upon a time, our skin looked like light, not this physical thing we have right now. What we have right now is epidermis, 7 layers of it, right? It's a good word, right? That we only have it because of the snake. It's actually called mishcha dechivia, clothing of the snake, because the snake gave it to us, which is why he sheds his skin. He's the only animal in the world that every once in a while has to shed his skin. It's a painful process, and scientists have no idea why he does it. It's not just because he wears it out. If you had to wear your clothes and drag yourself along the ground, it would also wear out too over time. But his skin seems able to handle it, and they don't know why he goes through it. And even the layer over his eyes, apparently, he goes blind temporarily because it also sheds as well until it comes back out again. And I don't know how they know it's painful. I don't know how you ask a snake things like that. But maybe because they're grumpier at that time, so they, whatever, right? Anyhow, so that physicality, we have to lose it once again. That comes primarily into Chis. It's amazing because you can't get into the world to come just like this. We're too physical. So we have to go back to Adam before the Chet, and that comes later on. He says, Yachil rak achar kach ule'at la'at shehu b'darga gedola. And that's not going to happen except very slowly. Once Mashiach comes, the evil's gone from the world, and the emes is everywhere. There's no use of heart anymore. We're still very physical, but gradually, as time goes on, from day to day, then the world becomes increasingly more spiritual, and so do we, until eventually we'll look like angels once again. Medrash on Tehillim Mizmor Yotes. Magdil Yeshua's Malko, the Kosh Baruch will increase the Yeshua's his kingdom. V'chula Kasuv Echad Omer Migdol. One pasuk says Migdol, which is like a tower. But Kasuv Echad Omer Magdil will increase. Rav Yudan Omer. That's what the publishers and benching, but it has to do with that as well, right? Versus Yanta versus Chol, right? So it says he says, right? Lefisha Ena Gula Ba Ella. Uma zuba basachad. That this gula is not going to come from the Jewish people, except it's not going to. It won't come at one time. Like we won't have the complete redemption at one time. We'll have enough of it to be free from all the bad stuff right away in a short period of time. But the actual complete redemption is going back to Adam before the Chet. We're no longer bound by this body, limited like we are, on a daily basis, right? Ella, it's going to happen kima very little, little by little. Umahu magdil lefishu skadela. What's the word magdil mean here? Right? It means it's going to increase, like skadel is going to become bigger over time. V'holeches lefi Yisrael, and it will continue according, lifnei Yisrael will happen the Jewish people. V'chulu lefikach meshula hagula keshachar. So that's why the redemption is compared to the morning, which it starts off dark and then it gets a little, orange color, and then goes higher until eventually it becomes bright like day, right? Namar az yivkad b'shachar orech, right? Then it will break through the morning, etc. He says, "V'nei yiskayim hateva v'chumri v'chol avias kulo ad zman techis emesim." So this chumrius, this physicality that is the world we know and we're used to, right? That's going to last until techis emesim, until the resurrection of the dead. Now most people would say, well, wait a second, that's already no Haba. After we die, and and the Kosh Baruch Hu fixes us up, we go to the great soul garage in the sky, and our bodies get purified, and then eventually they bring us back together again, and we have to Chis Amazing, what, year 7,000 or something? Not according to the Zohar, as the Leshem's going to bring down. He says, when is that? Shulo b'chos mi-arba'im shana acher kibbutz galuyos. The Chis Amazing is going to begin no less than 40 years after the ingathering of the exile. So that off the bat tells you we're not talking about Olam Haba. There's no kibbutz galuyos, in Olam Haba. We need kibbutz galuyos for Yemos Mashiach, not after Yemos Mashiach. The Jews have to come back home to Israel, after it's, earlier is better, much better, and you get more, you'll get schar. You don't get the schar for coming back Yemos Mashiach. Sefer Tuvar, it says a bit beferish, clearly, that you lose out by not coming before Mashiach comes. To wait for Mashiach to come is to lose on an extremely important opportunity and tikkun for history that goes back to the Meraglim. But anyhow, it's a different discussion for another time, right? Maybe 5 minutes from now. And so he goes on to say that this was as a measure to measures Nelam, which is part of the Zohar. Parashat told us Kuf Lamates, Amen Aleph Ein Shem. Take over there. Kuf Mim Amen Aleph Ein Od. Parashat Shmos as well. Yud Amen Aleph. But also Hazman Hinei Amru Ein Bein Olam Hazeh Limos Mashiach Ela Shibud Malchus Bilved. And that's the period of time that the Gemara is talking about when it says that there's no difference between this world now and Yemos Mashiach Ela, except for the oppression of nations. It's talking about then. V'lo yitchil ha'olam nischalef mitzavo v'tseis me'azuhama v'chumrius v'avius v'me'atev l'gamri ela mizman techus amesim. So that 40 years has to come to an end, whenever it begins. Now, up until now, we don't know what that means. We don't know when it begins because it's all dependent upon techus amesim. Techus amesim, whenever that has to begin, and then 40 years prior to that is going to be Kibbutz Galuyos. And those Kibbutz Galuyos will be a 40-year period of time, at least, before Techis Amesim. Could be longer. For example, since the Gra, we've been coming back. In the Baal Shem Tov, over history, waves of Aliyah. It's all part of Kibbutz Galuyos. It's taken place since the 1800s, so it's been much longer than 40 years, but there's at least a 40-year period of time called Kibbutz Galuyos, with maybe the end of it, right? And after that 40 years, comes what's called Techis Amesim, which means on this side of 6,000 in Olam Hazeh, in history. Well, it's more like that since Kibbutz Galuyos is part of the Messianic process and Techis Amesim is after it, it means that certainly that Mashiach has to come before Techis Amesim. There's no role to play in Techis Amesim for Mashiach. Right. Until this point, we don't know, because he hasn't told us any details. He's only told us that Techis Amesim comes 40 years after Kibbutz Galuyos. But if we're talking year 4,000, the history lasts 6,000, right? So it could be 4,200, be 4,600. We don't know.
But that's not there's no 40 years.
No, he's just saying whenever Techis Amesim is going to begin. So if Techis Amesim is going to begin in the year 4,600, so then 40 years prior to that has to be Kibbutz Galuyos. If it's going to begin in year 5,000, then 40 years prior to that.
Right.
So we don't know. Right? So all we know is the concept at this point in time. We have to see if there's more. We have to see if there's any way to pin this down and then be able to recognize if we're living in the period of time called the Messianic Era. That's what he's working towards over here.